this is John, host of MGTOW is Freedom. It's actually daytime and it's so dark where I'm at from the clouds and the rain that it appears that it's like night. Crazy. More severe flooding in Northern California. All right, on to the subject matter. You know, I get complaints. What comes next? And I've seen this on other channels as well when I read their comments. People say, well, you MGTOW guys have this all figured out, but what's next? How do you solve the problem? And I have to say, number one, as MGTOW, as a man, you can decide whether you want a woman or not. If the answer is no at any time for any reason, MGTOW is the solution. But if we want to examine why is it, or I'm sorry, what is it we do next? Once you're MGTOW and you know, how do you save the human species? How do you fix things? I think, once again, you have to carefully examine what the cause was. And when you break it down to its simplest pieces, the cause or the solution, or the cause of the problem is feminism. That is, women having rights. It's so simple. Before there were women's rights issues, there were no problems. Women were whores, prostitutes, and they were honest about it. Or women worked in as housekeepers and housemaids, where essentially they served as prostitutes. And they had children out of wedlock, a lot of them, bastard children. That's the way it was. But women, those women, had no rights to a man's wealth. And back then, you know, married women had no rights to her husband's wealth. The problem with feminism has been that women are irresponsible and they are immoral. The results, the dire consequence of that is that they're abusive and they destroy, they cause damage, right? They abuse men in the legal system. They steal their wealth. They have, in essence, created their own problems. So the solution is, when someone says, well, what's the solution then? It's a return to the way it was prior to feminism. That is, when a woman wants to marry a man, any rights that she has, she forfeits to her husband. She has no more rights. Period. And if she wants a divorce, I'm not saying divorce isn't an option, then she can leave with nothing. The exchange that the woman made to be with the man was all of her efforts for all of his at the time they're married, and once they're not married, that is it. She gets no more. The expense to keep a woman is far more than what it is she performs as a duty. She doesn't get to keep his wealth. That's what the old rules. Woman, you don't want to stay, you're gone, right? What do you get for it? I took care of you all of those years, right? You got to eat, sleep, be protected. Everything that I provide as a man is all you earn. See you later. And that, guys, in a nutshell, is it. That is where MGTOW leads to. And if women absolutely refuse, then they continue to get the treatment they're going to get, which is sexual segregation. And by that I mean is the men aren't going to want to be with women. They're not going to want to live with women. They're going to see women as a threat to their lives, a threat to their fortunes, a threat to their future, because women are immoral and women are irresponsible. Why are so many women broke? They don't know how to handle money. They don't make money. They cost money. The only reason women get paid what they do is because legislation demands that they get minimum wages. Right? That's what legislation demands, is that they be treated equally. Do I think they should be treated equally? If they earn it. I don't like that other men demand to be treated equally. I don't think people should be treated equally. I think they should be treated according to their merit. Not because of their skin color or anything else, but because you're a man and you have value, right? That's how you're treated. If you have no self-respect, you don't get respect from others. If you have self-respect and you've earned, right, your way through life, and that really is the way men are treated. I love and how we treat each other. I love how women say we have entitlements. It's asinine, right? When I was in my 20s, I got treated differently than when I was in my 30s and now in my 40s. It's based on my experience, based on my value, my attitude, my character, everything. No one gets to be treated as a man just like everyone else just because you say I'm a man and therefore I have this entitlement. It's not true. Go ask all those protesting millennials out there. They feel like they're being spit on. No, you're just in your 20s, you dipshits. That's how you start out in life. You get treated like shit. It's those types that have the mentality that they are entitled to the same treatment as me, or a 50-year-old man, or a 60-year-old man. They get treated differently than I do. But women think they're entitled to that. It is, but it's the irresponsible thinking and the immoral. And I don't want to back down on this. Women are immoral. They are. They are. If you look what happens in a breakup or a divorce, I'm not saying men are completely innocent, but statistical averages show that women take men's money. Women take men's property. Women demand alimony and get it on a far, far greater rate. And child support. I mean, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine selling, right, getting rid of a car, getting rid of any object and being forced to continue to pay for it. You know, that's what divorce is, an alimony. You're continuing to pay. You know how much I got in my divorce, even though my wife was making more than me at the time? Zero, right? Fucking zero. That's the game they play. Right? They try and destroy you. They try and get your career destroyed. And then they go, oh, I guess I shouldn't have destroyed your career, right? They don't care. They don't care. They'll lie. Their immorality causes them to lie. So that a policeman shows up and sees bruises on her or on the kids. Women will beat their own kids and call the police on the husband and have the husband arrested and charged with battery. That is immorality. That is all women have. And that is why they are not worthy of men as equals. They are not moral. They are not my equal. I think a lot of men feel that way, and that is the answer. We need to go back to where the problem came from. When women got rights, the right to vote, the right to own property, the right to divorce, the right to take from a man, that is when it got destroyed. So that needs to be reversed. Now, in our current economic, social, legal paradigm, that's not going to happen. So for the time being, for the time visible, it's not going to happen. There is no solution because women won't give up their rights. They are whores, and they have now seen what they get for selling themselves in a new way. They sell themselves to the government for their special privileges, right? And that selling, they are a victim. They claim to be a legal victim and and they are entitled to compensation for that victimhood. It's a form of reparations, right, that they want. They want to be repaid for their loss and their suffering, they claim. Men don't get that. So, like when I said there's going to be sexual segregation, in the 1800s and back, women lived in female boarding houses. They lived in the inn, right, or the bar, or the hotel, wherever they were at. They would live in closets and live in small rooms together, right? If they're prostitutes, they live in their room at the brothel and they pay a percentage of their hookering to the owner for that room and for the privilege of working in his brothel. That is what women were like. That is how they lived. Men lived separately as well, because women didn't want to give up pussy back then unless they got some money for it. They were very honest about it. And women got knocked up and they had babies and they had to raise them on their own. Like, I want to look at today's rules. A woman says, it's my body, I'll do what I want. But the next phrase should be, it's my body, I'll do what I want, and I'm going to make you pay for it. That needs to stop. When a woman says it's my body and my choice, then it is her responsibility as well. Because women are expensive. Because women are essentially failures when it comes to individualism, supporting themselves. The government is taking it upon themselves with this victim class. Women are victims and they want reparations. And when there's no man to take it from, they go to the state. And the state says, okay, well, you're definitely a victim, we'll take care of you. The state said, we can't afford all these worthless fucking women. And so they go back to fathers of children and say, you have to pay for this. So the state is coming to me, to men, and punishing us for what women do with their own bodies. That's right. Women do with their own bodies. It's their choice, as they so eloquently scream from the top of their lungs. Your body, your choice, your responsibility, your bill. But no, they want us to pay, so that needs to be fixed. What's the solution? Take away women's rights. Take them all away. They're not our equals. They're irresponsible, they're immoral, and they're perpetual victims. And they're incapable of taking care of themselves. Period. I don't even give a shit right now today about the exceptions to the rule, because I see those exceptions as very few and very far between. And you don't make a rule on the exception. You acknowledge that exceptions exist, but you don't make a rule surrounding it and then make everyone else pay for it. What do we do with women? What do we do about women as MGTOW? We can't do a thing. They have rights now. They have courts and they have guns in the hands of police to enforce those rules. So as far as I'm concerned, let women languish, let them die, let them suffer, let them be alone. Fuck them. What do you guys think? What is the solution? I know you've all seen that question asked. Well, what comes next? What do you do? Nothing. The species won't die because women will continue to be whores and have bastard children. There's no worry about the species dying. Men will still marry women, and they'll still have children because they're idiots, and they'll still lose everything they have, even when they totally capitulate to women's desires. Women will still leave them just to steal their money. I come on here and show my face and say these words. People, it seems like men are afraid to say the words. Women are whores. Women are irresponsible. Women are immoral. Women don't deserve rights beyond the right to suck oxygen and live. They don't deserve rights because all they have done from the moment they have got them is abuse them. They abuse other people with their rights. Right? I don't say, well, I'm a man and I have rights and I'm going to take this whip and I'm going to go over and just beat a horse to death. Right? I'm going to run him into the ground and beat him into the death because it's my right. That's what women do to men. They beat them into the ground until they're dead. The answer, the solution is MGTOW. Go your own way. Stop giving to them. Stop feeding the parasites. And the solution is, there is none until society collapses and the rules are rewritten and there is a real, genuine acceptance of what women are. They are immoral and irresponsible and therefore need to be taken care of by a man. And in order for a man to do that, he needs to be assured that his property and his life are his to keep during and after any marriage to a woman. Answer complete, done. Thanks guys, please click subscribe, thumbs up all MGTOW videos. This one, my other videos, all channels, all videos, all the time, thumbs up. And of course I want to say thank you to everyone who's done fan funding. You guys have been great. It's helping me pay some bills. It shows me you appreciate my time, and I appreciate the time you put into watching and commenting. So please comment, give me your ideas on what comes next. What can we do? You know, did MGTOW go, well, I'm MGTOW, so I guess I can just do what I want? Nope, too many penalties for it. MGTOW is MGTOW. You have to go your own way. Right? Women have to be stopped and have their rights taken away from them, or we just don't have relationships with them. And even if you take those rights away and you have a woman, guess what? You're going to pay the emotional price for her. You're going to pay the emotional price. You're going to pay for her food, her shelter, her clothing. You're going to pay to protect her one way or another. Women are expensive and they're depreciating assets. That is, over time, they are less valuable unless they improve their value by being a more responsible creature, and that is individually evolving. But when you give them rights, they believe they have value above and beyond what they are and what they're capable of giving you, and then they take what is yours. Can't have that, guys. No more. No more. All right. MGTOW is freedom. Out. Semper Fi.